The other day I was playing Deep Rock Galactic and I noticed this little chap growing on a rock. I instantly recognized it as one of my favorite sea creatures, the predatory tunicate. Years ago, I saw a few of these in an aquarium, and they look almost exactly like the ones in the game, except the real ones are nearly transparent. I think it's cool that this random, somewhat obscure sea creature was used as an alien in Deep Rock Galactic. So I went through the rest of the game's fauna and flora to see if there were any other interesting examples. In Deep Rock Galactic, all the species you encounter are troglobites, which means they are an organism adapted to living in a cave. This isn't to be confused with troglodyte, which simply means caveman, or trilobite, which is a prehistoric arthropod. In real life, troglobites are pretty diverse and range from tiny cave spiders to larger creatures like blind cave salamanders. It didn't take long for me to find another example of a real-world organism transplanted into Deep Rock Galactic. This entity in the game, known as the hollow xenofungus, is based on the real-world mushroom known as the latticed stinkhorn. This mushroom has a foul smell to attract flies, which spread its spores across the landscape. I assume the hollow form of this mushroom is helpful in this process. There are other mushroom types in the game, but those are more normal looking. If you want to find the hollow xenofungus in-game, it's only found in the fungus bogs, which is fitting, I suppose. The next one is pretty obvious, but all of these cave corals, as they're called, are based on real types of coral. You've got your brain corals, your table corals, and your staghorn corals. The gang's all here. You can find these guys in the dense biozone of Deep Rock Galactic. Going back to the first example, you might be asking yourself, what is a tunicate, and why is this one predatory? Well, you may know tunicates by their common name, sea squirts, and they are the closest relatives of vertebrates. Most tunicates are boring filter feeders, but the predatory tunicate is special because it has a quote-unquote mouth to trap its prey. To be honest, it's barely a step above filter feeding, but it'll have to do. In Deep Rock Galactic, it is known as a breather, and can be found in the radioactive exclusion zone. In the glacial strata, you can find what are called oases, which are patches of bright red flora growing around a steam vent. This reminded me a lot of the giant tube worms that grow around deep sea hydrothermal vents. One of the creatures in the game, the silicate harvester, reminds me of the prehistoric Cambrian era creature Anomalocaris. It's not an exact replica as it has tentacles instead of whatever weird grasping tendrils Anomalocaris had, but it is certainly a Cambrian-coded entity. Another creature in the game is the Mobula Cave Angel, which seems to be based on a bat ray. Most of the enemies in the game are based on some sort of arthropod, including spiders, scorpions, flies, and ticks. I'm not really an arthropod expert, so I'm not sure if any of these are meant to be real species. However, there are so many species of arthropods that there's probably similar looking types just by pure coincidence. One thing that you wouldn't think has a real world counterpart is rockpox. I mean, how could a rock possibly get sick? Well, while rocks can't get sick, there are bacteria that have evolved specifically to live inside rocks. These are known as endolithic bacteria and can be found several kilometers below the surface of the Earth. These bacteria are often studied by those interested in astrobiology because it is suspected that the first extraterrestrial organisms we would encounter would live inside rocks. These bacteria do alter the chemical makeup of the surrounding rocks, so that's kind of like making a rock sick, I guess. Honestly, that's a bit of a stretch. I just wanted to tell you about endolithic bacteria because they're pretty fascinating. Well, I'm sure I've missed a few examples of this in the game, so let me know if you found anything else interesting. Thanks for watching.